In this episode of From the Core, we talk about the dangers of drugs.
We cook up a little something special at Tampa Bay Tech.
And our commentator shares why community service is so important.
All of these stories are coming your way on this episode of
From the Core.
Hello, I'm Maddie.
My name is David, and we would like to welcome you to From the Core.
The renowned American scientist Marvin Minsky once said, "You don't understand anything until you learn it more than one way."
As a symbol of strength, courage, and freedom, the bald eagle not only embodies the essence of the American spirit, but holds a world record too.
Here's Alex to tell you more about America's most eloquent symbol on this month's segment of Thought You Should Know.
Thanks, guys. If you live in the United States, depictions of the bald eagle are nearly inescapable. The bald eagle has been a prominent American symbol since 1782, when it was adopted by our forefathers as the national bird and subsequently placed on the Great Seal of our country. The seal depicts the anterior view of an eagle with a shield on its breast and a scroll bearing the words E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, in its beak, whilst carrying an olive branch in its right talon and 13 arrows in its left talon. The bald eagle was selected to represent our nation because of its perceived fierce independence, unwavering strength, long life, majestic beauty, and great courage. Also at the time, our forefathers believed the bird to be uniquely American. American folklore offers another explanation. Legend has it, early one morning, during one of the first battles of the Revolution, eagles, awoken by the sounds of fighting, leapt from their nests and began circling over the heads of the warring soldiers, squawking and crying out loudly. The fighting patriots interpreted these cries as shrieks for freedom from the British. From government institutions to official documents, to the presidential seal, and even on our dollar bills, the bald eagle remains an iconic representation of a nation that promises life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to its citizens. Aside from being our nation's symbol, the bird has received special recognition for holding the world record for largest nest ever built. The nest, found in our very own state, was 20 feet tall, 9 feet wide, and weighed in at about 2 tons. Overall, their nests are the biggest created by any birds in North America. For Florida viewers who may be interested in seeing one of these magnificent nests for themselves, please go to the website listed below to locate your nearest one. From 1967 until 2007, bald eagles were listed as an endangered species in 43 out of the 48 lower states. This was due to the hunting of the eagles for sport and for the supposed threat they posed to fishing grounds. The pesticide DDT also largely affected their numbers. Its chemicals would collect in the fish they ate, weakening the eagles' eggshells, thus causing a major decline in their population. With the severe restriction of DDT in 1972, their numbers slowly climbed. Today, thanks to government regulations and the efforts of conservationists, their numbers have stabilized. Though they are no longer endangered, these birds are still listed as a threatened species. It is up to you and I to ensure the protection and preservation of both eagles and any other animals out there in danger. Speaking of which, every year the Humane Education Network offers an essay contest, A Voice for Animals, for high school students below the age of 19 who have great ideas about animal issues. To qualify for this scholarship, you must establish or become involved with a project that addresses either the mistreatment of one animal species, one cause of animal suffering, or the preservation of one species threatened with extinction. The project must be presented in the form of an original essay, accompanied by photographs, a digital photojournal or album, or an original video. You can earn up to $600 while working for a great cause. Imagine that. The deadline for submissions is July 31st. For more information, go to hennet.org/contest. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for sticking around. Make sure to tune into next month's TISC Desk for your monthly dose of science, civics, and a scholarship opportunity. I'm Alex, and I thought you should know.
If you didn't catch all of what Alex had to say, you can always log on to tampagov.net/CTTV and click on the From the Core link to review this segment from the beginning.
Here in the Sunshine State, drug abuse has become a major issue. Even worse, teens looking for a high are finding it amazingly easy to get a hold of prescription drugs. But the Museum of Science and Industry believes curbing this problem is everybody's business. We sent Brock to find out exactly how Mosey is facing this issue head on.
The DEA has chosen Mosey to facilitate its Target America exhibit, which educates people about the dangers of drug abuse. Widow Stranko, Mosey's president and CEO, shares why he believes the partnership is important.
We're really fortunate to be in the 6th largest science center in America, and we reach almost 1 million families, people 2 to 92 every year. It was just a perfect audience for us to try and make a difference in the drug capital of Florida.
The exhibit portrays the cost of drugs personally and on our society. Mr. Ostrenko doesn't mince words about the consequences of drug addiction.
If you as a young person wanted to come and work at Mosey and you have a record of drug abuse, I'm not hiring you. And neither is anybody else going to hire you for the rest of your life. You take that first pill, you may not be able to work at Mosey, period. That's a great loss of brain power, horsepower. Your income just went from being a millionaire to being a drug addict and being in jail or dead.
Behind me are the remnants of a Ford Thunderbird whose driver is currently in prison for aggravated vehicular homicide. In his wake, he leaves 3 children without their mother. Drug addiction doesn't just affect you, it impacts those around you as well. In Florida, 7 people die every day from prescription drug abuse.
Everybody that you talk to that has a child, a relative, a friend that's been addicted to drugs, there's never a happy story. It's always a painful and sad outcome.
Prescription drugs are found in some of the most common everyday places, such as your own medicine cabinet. Teens are also getting them from friends. Agent DiCaprio talks about what to tell someone who struggles with drug addiction, emphasizing the importance of setting goals.
You can't go halfway with drugs because the addiction is too powerful. Find those goals. Sit down with your parents, talk about how they can help achieve those goals, how they can help facilitate those goals by getting them to practice, forming carpools, making sure they can provide an atmosphere where they can, achieve something positive. There's no positive outcome for the use of drugs.
There is still time to check out the Target America exhibit at Mosey. And remember, the best way to avoid the dangers of drugs is to never get started. It's a habit no one can afford.
Now we're going to continue the conversation about drugs, but this time we're talking about the synthetic variety. A synthetic drug is a non-organic, chemically synthesized, unsafe recreational drug, and they seem to be a growing problem all across America. Luli and Marissa are here to provide me with their perspective on this and other matters. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Marissa, are people taking synthetic drugs too seriously?
I don't think people are taking synthetic drugs too seriously at all because it is a serious problem within itself. People are taking this drug. It's becoming so popular among teens, and the effects are so serious. It's killing people and facing young teens serious with jail time because they are doing stupid things with something that they're not sure what is even in the drug. It's much more serious than real drugs itself.
Lily, people say that marketing is geared towards children. What do you think about that?
I think that they should not be gearing it towards children because the children are too young to know any better and they really don't know what's in the drug.
Marissa, do these drugs open a door to more serious problems?
They do open doors to very serious problems because it is a serious problem itself. They are so addictive, and young teens are ordering these online and through convenience stores because they are perceived to be as legal, which in fact they are not. And so it's opening doors to life issues, like basically you can die from it, you can overdose, and they're facing issues as kids that they should not be experiencing with drugs.
What are some of the names of these drugs?
Well, there's K2, there's bath salts, there's spice, and there's so many different, there's actually over 700 of these types of drugs for heroin and cocaine that is open for kids to buy.
Marissa, I have one final question. Do you think kids that use synthetic drugs now are more likely to use marijuana, cocaine, and other hardcore drugs in the future?
I actually don't think that kids are more likely to use more serious, real drugs because these drugs are so much easier to access. You can get them online, and they think that they are legal, they think they're okay because that's what they're perceived to be. So they are more likely to use these. They also give off the same high effect, and they actually don't show up on drug tests. So kids like synthetic drugs more because of these reasons.
Thank you, girls, for your insight on that important topic. Now moving on to what's trending in your lives. What's trending with you, Lily?
What's trending with me is texting and driving.
Why is texting and driving such a growing problem in America?
Because people really don't know what they're doing. They just figure, hey, it's a text message. It's not going to hurt anyone. But in real life, it is hurting people.
So there are certain consequences that come with texting and driving?
There are. You could possibly hurt yourself. You could hurt other people. And you could get in an accident, which could lead to deaths.
Are there any tips you would like teens to know to prevent these crashes while texting?
To really understand that a text message, yeah, it may be important at the time, but is your life really more important, is the text message more important than your life, or is your life more important to you?
Thank you. What's trending with you, Marissa?
What's trending with me and young teens and everyone across the nation is Instagram.
What exactly is Instagram?
Instagram is the newest social networking site. It's actually an app that people can access. It was purchased by Facebook for $1 billion. Within 17 months, it blew up. And you can upload pictures and share with your friends and comment on other people's pictures and let everybody know what's going on in your life.
There are rumors about social networking sites being unsafe. Do you feel the same way about Instagram?
Yes. It can be used in the wrong way. If it is used in the right way, it can be very beneficial, but you do face risky decisions. If you sign up, you have to talk to your parents and be knowledgeable of the risk that you're taking and make sure that you're not letting too much information out because there are predators out there and they are watching, and you have to make sure that you're safe online and not giving away too much of your information.
So do you feel Instagram is a way for you to express yourself?
Instagram is definitely a way for you to express yourself. It was actually used first as a form for people to show off their photography skills, and then eventually more and more people started getting it and started using it as a way just to show off their regular pictures, and people are able to express themselves and show what everybody is what's going on in everybody's life. You can show off your photography or your friends and family. So it's definitely a creative website for you to use.
Thanks, Marissa, Lily, for your input.
Thank you so much for having us.
Don't go anywhere. From the Core will be right back.
Maybe you see something suspicious, but you don't want to get involved. It's nothing, you think. Can you be sure? If you see something, say something. Report suspicious activity to local authorities.
Welcome back to From the Core.
According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, 12.5 million children are obese, and oftentimes, obese kids become obese adults.
So to turn the tide on this growing problem, national organizations such as the Health Corps were formed to give kids the knowledge they need to know to grow up living better. Locally, the Health Corps is fighting obesity by creating delicious meals in the kitchen at Tampa Bay Technical High School. Our very own Brianna was invited to sample the Health Corps' culinary creations.
Health Corps! At Tampa Technical High School, the Health Corps promotes healthy living within teens. Health Corps is a national nonprofit organization started by Dr. Mehmet Oz. There are 53 Health Corps branches in schools across the nation. Part of their goal is to address the childhood obesity epidemic. For Janelle Pitek, that means changing lives through the Teen Battle Chef program.
So Teen Battle Chef is kind of modeled after Iron Chef, which you may have seen on TV. So in their 8th week, the students actually pick their own recipe, what they want to make. And it has to be cultural, and it has to have some component of nutrition in it. So as a team, they invite their parents, friends, some of the teachers from the school come, and they put on an actual competition.
These two groups of young chefs work on healthy meals.
Right now I'm making a black bean stew. It contains black beans, turkey sausage, bell pepper, diced tomatoes, onion, and garlic, and mangoes.
Well, right now we're making a salad, which is it's from Italia. It's like a famous Italia salad. It's going to include peaches, greens, and stuff. And it really has low cholesterol. It's very healthy for you. It has fiber. You can also cook it with salt, and also pears and oranges will be good for it too.
Okay. Here at Tampa Tech, learning how to make a healthy meal is just one aspect of the Health Corps. The Corps also provides other opportunities for teens to get involved. Nerely Ramirez has been a part of Teen Battle Chef for 2 years and wants to pursue a career in health.
I feel that other teens should be involved because they should as well eat healthy and think healthy throughout their life.
As a part of the program, the young chefs present a mise en place, which is a plate showing what you will be eating. The young ladies involved in Teen Battle Chef have learned a lot about healthy cooking and a path to a healthier future.
From the look of things, the Health Corps is creating an army of teens interested in mixing culture, cooking, and lifestyle to look and feel their best. We've posted the recipes mentioned in this story. Just go to tampagov.net/cttv and click on the From the Corps button. Bon appetit!
When we get back, we'll find out how many members of the Mayor's Youth Corps it takes to paint a house.
I'm Jeremy Call, and I made suction tires. Wait, what? Wait. I used a rivet gun to connect the suction cups, and then I just connected it to the tire. I got the idea from an octopus because of the suction cups, and I don't know.
Anything's possible. Keep thinking. Get started on your invention at inventnow.org.
Hey David, do you know what Mayor Bob Buckhorn says is the best all-volunteer program that this community has ever had?
No, Maddie, I don't. What is it?
With over 2,500 volunteers and sponsors from all backgrounds, Paint Your Heart Out Tampa has earned that coveted title.
This year, the Mayor's Youth Corps and Mayor's Youth Leadership Council gave their hearts out to Tampa once again. FTC reporter Cole was on the scene to fill out the special report.
This morning, kids and adults are coming together to paint a brighter future for Tampa residents in need of support. Each year, nearly 2,500 volunteers participate in the event to help elderly, low-income Tampa residents by painting the exterior of their homes. Even Mayor Bob Buckhorn took time off of his busy schedule to check out this uplifting event.
This is one of the coolest things that I do as mayor and that the city does. We've been doing it for over 20 years. It's an opportunity for you as a Mayor's Youth Corps member and all the teams that are helping to touch a life and make a difference in some family's life. You know, most of these people at the houses that we're painting couldn't do it themselves. They either couldn't afford it or they're not physically able to do it. And so being out here and watching this happen is really, really a good thing.
Mayor's Youth Corps member Carissa Mastroia was enthusiastic about her first time painting to help out the community.
So far we've been picking weeds, and then after we did that we raked and we put down mulch, and now we're starting to paint. I think we've all really just come together because we know that someone needs help and we need to work together in order to accomplish our goal.
Mayor's Youth Corps member Greg Cox loved painting the house. More importantly, he believes Paint Your Heart Out brightens neighborhoods.
I think the community as a whole benefits from it. Not only does it beautify the city, but everybody comes together and just like helping each other.
Mayor's Youth Corps, doing our part for Tampa.
This is Cole reporting for From the Corps.
Paint Your Heart Out Tampa is a great way to show your community that you care. Although this year's event has already passed, the program will return next year. There will be plenty of opportunities to pick up a brush and just paint. To find out more about Paint Your Heart Out Tampa, check out our website. Over to you, David.
Every month, we tell you about someone not well known that has played a big role in shaping the city of Tampa. This time, I'm joined by Wally. He is going to tell us about the man behind Ybor City. Thank you for joining me, Wally.
Thank you, David.
First off, who was Vicente Martinez Ybor?
Well, David, Vicente is actually the man who opened up the cigar factory in Ybor, and he was very important because he brought many jobs to Tampa and helped Tampa's infrastructure in a time when Tampa was starting out and needed it the most.
What was Vicente's early life like?
Well, you see, Vicente was born in Spain in 1818, and he actually lived there until he was 14, which is when he moved away. Because in Spain, there's a mandatory military requirement, and Martinez did not feel like he had to fulfill that. Therefore, he moved to Cuba, which at the time was a Spanish province.
How is he related to Tampa?
Oh, well, you see, Vicente actually was in Cuba for a while, but then due to some unrest, he ended up moving to Florida, and he actually went to Key West first, but then he moved to Tampa. And in Tampa, he started a cigar factory. And his cigar factory was revolutionary, not just because of the amazing cigars that it produced, but also because of the way that it treated its workers, and therefore it led to a big influx in both Tampa's infrastructure and population. There wasn't really a lot of workers' rights, and what he did was, especially to immigrant workers, he allowed them to do things such as buy property and own land, and even own parts of the business. Doing things like this actually allowed the workers and made the workers want to stay in Tampa and develop their families.
How long did Vicente live in Tampa?
Actually, the reason he came to Tampa, was because he heard about Henry B. Plant's train system, and he came here in 1885, and he lived here all the way until his death in 1896, so that's for 9 years.
How do you think Henry B. Plant's train system helped him with revolutionizing the cigar industry?
Well, you see, Vicente, using Plant's train system, had something that was new at the time, which was the ability to market and take his cigars to places where they'd never been before, because he had the advantage of having a train station right nearby, so he was able to ship out his cigars for less, and therefore he became successful.
Do you think any of his struggles in his life helped him be a better cigar maker and better owner of the cigar factory?
Well, actually, the reason Vicente left Cuba was because he was caught helping the revolutionaries. And this actually caused a very hard time for him and his company. And so, also when he moved to Key West, as I mentioned before, he had some other difficulties with his company. And all of that sort of helped shape the pearl, so to speak, that was his success in Tampa, because he knew specifically how to deal with, things like the government, and also deal with problems with workers and be able to appease everyone.
How did Vicente get his last name, Ybor, to be named for a city?
Well, actually, Ybor was the name of, obviously, Vicente's factory was named after himself, and therefore, since Ybor City, which it was now known as, back then it was just a separate section of Tampa, what happened was that Ybor's cigars became so famous that at the time of his death, they named the city after him. And also, it was the cigar capital of the world at the time.
How does his legacy live on today, and how did it live on after his death?
Well, right now, there's actually a statue of Vicente in Ybor City, but one of the most long-lasting effects is actually Tampa itself. The fact that Vicente was able to have such a successful business allowed him to bring in a lot of workers and allowed him to have a lot of people come to Tampa at a time when Tampa was just starting out. Now, Tampa was a new city, and so his legacy lives on in the success, that one might say, of Tampa.
Thank you, Wally. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you, David.
We'll be right back after this.
This financial advisor is being accused of committing one of the largest investment frauds in the history of the United States.
I guess we're not going to Aspen. That's fine. You see, I like tennis balls. He likes insider trading. So he's going to jail and I'm going to a shelter. And no, they're not the same thing. Shelters are for good pets that want to be adopted. Jails are for criminals. I've done nothing. Uh-oh. Okay, I stole a cheeseburger once. I'm a dog.
At From the Core, we always believe that what teens have to say is important. Well, Eduardo Sotomayor is our guest commentator, and he believes what teens do is also important.
People often say to always be involved or committed to something that benefits society. For me, I often think of community service and how it is always present in my life. Not only does my high school require a certain number of service hours completed each year, but several students go beyond the basic requirements. For me, I'd rather be loyal to one service project and be a reoccurring volunteer. Thus, being involved in some type of service project and being consistent with the organization you choose to be active in is key to giving back to the community. Recently, I have been serving as a kitchen aide and a food distributor at Sacred Heart Academy. Every other Saturday, the school allows volunteers to prepare and distribute food to the homeless of Tampa Bay at St. Peter Claver School. We volunteers first help in the kitchen by cooking beans and mashed potatoes, cleaning pots and pans, and preparing the food for distribution. At the park, around 30 homeless people are waiting to be served lunch, which may be their only meal of the day. As a Catholic organization, a scripture reading and prayer is said before the homeless receive their food. Next, they line up and we do our best to serve ample amounts of food to them rapidly. The experience is relaxed but also very rewarding. I love the feeling I get when I know I have impacted someone's life, even in the slightest manner. Some people do community projects only to meet requirements, keep scholarships, or have some sort of service on their college resume. But the experience should be looked upon further than just a burden. I do community service for school, but most importantly for the self-reward. Finding an organization, whether helping the homeless, disabled, orphans, or just someone in need, is the key to making the experience an enjoyable one. I admit, it can be hard to wake up early on a Saturday to attend a project, but the more you participate, the more it becomes less of a negative. Thus, I want to challenge all you viewers to become engaged in our community's vast projects. There are multiple organizations all over Tampa that are worth simple assistance. And I'm telling you, the self-recognition that comes with helping is extraordinary. I promise, the satisfaction of reaching out to people who need help is like no other experience. Therefore, I want all of you to at least become involved in one service project, whether for school, enjoyment, or any other personal cause. Whether serving at a parish, homeless shelter, daycare center, or even joining your school's Key Club, there are numerous ways of getting involved in your community. Also, doing service projects is not age restricted. Get your parents and grandparents to also develop a habit to help others. The reward that comes from helping our community is one that is worth sacrificing some time during our blessed lives. Thus, we all need to become involved.
Now we would like to recognize a few individuals in the Tampa Bay area whose efforts and actions contribute to improving our community.
Brittany Connolly, who has recently been elected the student member on the Board of Directors for the Southern Regional Honors Council.
Cole Fisher, Christine Bajo, Shia Bott, Natalie Navarro, and Mark Bremer, NYC classes of 2011 and 2012, all for being selected as delegates to represent the city of Tampa at the Suncoast League of Cities annual conference in St. Petersburg.
Megan Gonzalez for recently being selected as a member of Dr. Sylvia Richardson's Athena Society Young Women of Promise. Thank you and congratulations to all of you for your efforts and accomplishments.
That about sums it up. The show's over. From all of us at From the Core.
Not so fast, David. Didn't you listen to what Eduardo had to say? David, think about it. Channel your inner Eduardo.
For all of you watching, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, always do your part.
Tune in next month for another exciting and awe-inspiring edition of
From the Core.